All right, guys, so we're on to translations. So a translation is basically sometimes we'll call it like a slide. So you could call this a translation or a slide because basically we're just taking the figure and moving it the x direction a certain number of units and the y direction a certain number of units. So if you look here on this first example, we have this. The T stands for translation, okay? And it's saying 7 and then -4. So it could also be written like this, where we have the coordinates x comma y, and then it has this arrow, meaning we're going to move it, all right, in some direction. And in this case, if we're doing the same translation, it would just be x plus 7 and y minus 4. Okay, so that's all it is for translation. Um, so for this one, if you look at it, we take e, and either rule you use is fine, doesn't matter. But we're going to travel in the x direction 7 units. Okay, so we're going to travel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to go down 4 units right here. Okay, so that's going to be the coordinate for e prime. Okay, because remember, guys, all these primes mean is it's saying it's similar to the figure, just in a different spot. That's why we use the primes, because we want to say that, hey, it's similar to that figure EFG, but we just moved it. Okay, and also, guys, remember that EFG, that is going to be the pre-image, and then E prime, F prime, G prime is going to be the image. Okay. So image is like when you take that picture, you're looking at it. When you're looking at the picture, you're not looking at the actual thing, but you're just looking at an image of it. All right, so moving on, if we go to F prime, all we're going to do is we're going to start at F. We're going to move 7 units, all right, 7 units over and 4 units down and end up right there. So that is going to be F prime. And then the last one is going to be G prime. And so G prime, we're going to move 7 units again in the positive x direction. So here we go. So we're moving 7 and then down 4. So we're going to be right about there. So that's going to be our G prime. So the last thing you do is you just connect the dots. We're good to go. That's the image of our triangle there. So that's it. So that's all you have to do for a translation. You're just counting, moving in the x and the y direction. Okay. The other thing that you guys might be asked to do, pause the video. The other thing you guys might be asked to do is write a translation rule. So they'll give you the image and the pre-image. So just remember for this that we're always starting with the regular letters and we're going to the prime letters, okay? So that's the important thing with that. So in this one, we're going to go from S to S prime. And I just kind of look at where am I heading, what direction. So if I'm heading along the x-axis, that's going to be in the -1 direction. And then I'm heading down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the -4 direction, okay? So for this one, if I'm going to write a translation rule, there's a couple ways I could do it. And I might set it up first and say, all right, I'm going to use the x comma y, and then I'm translating it, okay, x minus 1, and then y minus 4. Okay, you could also write it and see it as the translation, and we use those kind of funky sideways V's for like vector notation, and we're saying -1 comma -4. That's how you could see it, okay? So either one is fine. All right, just be careful what it's asking for in Math Excel, okay? But either one works when you're writing the translation rule. But yeah, guys, that is it. So make sure if you have any questions, you ask during class.